We know that lawsuits have begun to be filed against this fertilizer plant. Does it seem like a pretty strong case to you, given, you've covered negligence cases before and labor issues. It would seem to me like the families and people affected by this might have a very strong case.
Yeah, there have been a number of lawsuits that have already kicked off, families and businesses, insurance companies that have sued the owners of the plant for negligence and safety preparation.
Mike, in your experience, how typical or atypical is it for a plant in a rural part of the country to try to slip under the radar, to fail to report to federal regulators, to try to perhaps save money by not putting in safety apparatus in their plant? How typical is this?
I would say it's the norm as opposed to the outlier, unfortunately, from what I see. The average fine, the maximum fine that a company has to pay for willfully violating safety laws that result in a worker's death is $7,000.
Oh my God.
So for a lot of companies, breaking safety laws is just the cost of doing business. Maybe you get caught, but OSHA is so understaffed that if OSHA was to inspect every work site in the United States, it would take it 129 years.
And OSHA has been on the chopping block. A number of Republicans in Congress have repeatedly tried to pare back OSHA even more. And again, OSHA is the agency responsible for trying to at least convince these companies to do the right thing.
Yeah, a number of companies over the years have done that. We've seen, a lot of companies push for that. The budget of OSHA is $558 million. In comparison, we spend twice as much regulating fish and wildlife in this country. So as a government, we've decided that the safety of fish and wildlife is, for hunting is more important than the lives of workers in the workplace.
And as we mentioned in the last segment, more than 4,600 Americans were killed just last year in workplace safety accidents. And it seems to be the view now of our government and our Congress that, we'll just let the plants self-regulate themselves and decide for themselves what sort of safety measures are appropriate to have in place.
Yes. And it's not just Republicans. It's important to remember that after the Upper Big Branch mine explosion, the plant had been cited for over 400 safety violations in the year leading up to the mine explosion there. And Congress, then controlled by Democrats, couldn't even pass legislation dealing with mine safety. Increasing fines, increasing enforcement.
So we're talking that the 2010 Upper Big Branch mine, West Virginia, killed 20 miners, and as you noted, 458 times the mine had been cited for safety regulations, and yet with a Democratic Congress, nothing is done. There's no federal regulation that is done to address safety violations like that.
Well, not only that, if you look at the Obama administration's track record, last year on Take Your Child to Work Day, I'm not kidding about this, the Obama administration withdrew a rule that would have prevented children from working in certain dangerous farm occupations. They did it on Take Your Child to Work Day, which is the irony of the whole thing. And they said that this rule will never be considered again. And even Al Franken was on Minnesota Public Radio praising the Obama administration for withdrawing the safety rule. And I know a number of people that work on workplace safety that wouldn't vote for Obama because he withdrew that rule.
Mike, it's outrageous on so many levels, never mind sort of our federal government's policy right now towards companies, letting them essentially cut corners with safety, but also sort of the lack of any attention on this. Can you explain why? It's just you and Chris Hayes and Cenk Uygur. The mainstream media is nowhere to be found on this. How do you explain it?
Well, Media Matters did a study, right? Between last Saturday of last week and Wednesday, there were 63 cable segments on cable news about the fertilizer plant explosion. Only 2 out of the 63 segments even mentioned that they had 1,300 times the amount of legally allowed ammonium nitrate in that plant. President Obama, in his remarks at the memorial, didn't even mention it was a workplace safety. He did this on the 3rd anniversary of when he gave the memorial at the Upper Big Branch mine disaster. And in that memorial, President Obama blasted the company for violating safety. So we're not even seeing any leadership from the president on this. And I think with the big way of our cable news is designed, that unless it becomes a political issue, I don't think most people really care.
You're absolutely right. You've got it exactly right. Mike Elk, a labor reporter, staff writer for In These Times magazine. Mike, keep up the great work, and thanks for being part of the show.
Thanks for having me on, David.
Mike Al, terrific stuff that he's doing. I wish we could give him a couple shows in cable news or, I don't know, maybe a network newscast. Folks, if you want to take action on this, scream bloody murder to your members of Congress, to your senators. Call your local newspapers. Call Anderson Cooper. Call the media. Tell them this is outrageous. And it is outrageous. Is this a society we want where we let the corporations run free and do whatever they want when it comes to the safety of their workers? Not in the country that I believe in, and not in the country that I think most of you believe in. More Take Action News on the other side of this break on We Act Radio.